go straight away to Dan, who's another new caller in Bournemouth. Dan, good morning.
Hello there.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, and you?
Right, so tell me about what's going on with you and these welfare, health and disability benefits.
So I mean, myself and my wife, we both work full-time. I work 2 jobs. So basically, my wife had a prolapsed disc to the point where now she's 38 and she has to walk with a Zimmer frame. So now we're waiting on the 3rd surgery now. So what we decided to do, because my wife's quite independent, she had a car and it was a manual car. And we said, right, well, you can't drive that anymore. But she still needs to get about. One of the jobs I do, I go away for quite a while and they come back.
So she needs a car, yeah.
So she needs to get about to get our daughter to school and all the rest of it. So we got the PIP application, we filled it all out, sent it off. We got one back, a reply back saying, no, you're not entitled. So we appealed it and said, well, hold on a minute, I'm sure we are. And I think it's a points-based system and you need 12 points to be kind of eligible for it, and we were on 11. So we appealed it, and we were on the phone to the lady, and she basically said, well, can you plan a journey? And my wife was like, well, yeah, of course I can. She said, oh, are you anxious about, your condition? And basically it was all to do with mental health, not her physical disability. Now, she has to get our daughter to put her knickers on sometimes, and, that's how bad it is. And then on the flip side to that, my younger brother, he was diagnosed with it was either autism or Asperger's or something like that when he was younger. He's now got a real good job in tech and £100,000 a year. He's decided that he took a ADHD online assessment thing, and it would come back to say, oh yes, you've got ADHD. And when I said to him, I don't think you have. I know people with ADHD. You can sit on your computer for hours and hours.
Yeah,
and hours
that doesn't sound right. Yeah.
You haven't got that, but it sits in with Asperger's or whatever. Whatever he was diagnosed with when he was younger. And he said, "Well, I've got this is going to make it even worse. I've got an appointment with my private healthcare, and I'm going to be assessed." So he now is in receipt of this £75 a week or whatever it is, PIP allowance for ADHD when he hasn't actually been diagnosed yet with ADHD, because you don't get the diagnosis for like 2 years. Now, surely we're wasting so much money on paying these payments for people that haven't been diagnosed. And I said to him, well, what happens if you don't get diagnosed? Do you have to pay that money back? He was like, no, it's all fine. And I said, well, you're on £100,000 a year.
Yeah, this is because I was just going to say this, because PIP is not related to what you earn. It is if you need extra support to carry out your normal daily life or your normal daily work or whatever, then you can apply for PIP. And I wonder if it should be means tested.
Well, I certainly think it should, because I said to him, what does this
What difference does it make to him? Why does he need
£75 a week do to you? And he said, well, it's, if I go down to the shops and forget something. And I thought, well, that's everyday life.
Yeah.
He said, if I've got something in the fridge or in the cupboard that's out of date and I need to order it quickly, I said, I've moved 5 times with my job with the same jar of pickles for the last 10 years.
Oh, you're like me, you are.
Every time I move, I go, I'll get rid of that. And it goes back in the cupboard, and I forget
back in the cupboard
again.
That'll be, come the zombie apocalypse, you'll be glad of that, Dan.
Yeah, well, this is it. But I just think the system is broken.
Yeah.
It's more for. I said to my wife, if you told them you get anxiety attacks, you can't go outside because you don't want people to see you with your Zimmer frame, and you can't plan a route now because all your confidence is gone, they'd be throwing money at us. But
do you know what? That is so depressing.
Activity.
You're absolutely right. You are 100% right. And so this is what's happening, is that it's causing people to lie to get the top-ups, to get the extra money. And who was it, your brother, did you say, or cousin? Or
my brother.
Your
my
brother.
brother just bought a £400,000 house in the middle of Herefordshire. No problem whatsoever. The middle of nowhere.
And he's getting PIP.
And the £75 a week, I can guarantee, goes on his extra mortgage payment that he makes every year. You know, so how does that benefit his life in any way whatsoever when he's on that amount of money?
God, that is outrageous.
I have to work 2 jobs so that my wife can get about, so we can get a new car, and I've got to work 2 jobs for it. I'm literally on my way back from my second job now, ready to start work tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock again.
Oh, Dan. Yeah, I feel that anger for you, because it's people like your brother, I'm afraid, who go, well, it's there, I might as well have it. I'm entitled.
What's even funnier is we've got grandparents that have got a bit of money, and we were talking at Christmas about the winter fuel payments, and he said, yeah, right, they've got too much money, they shouldn't get it. And I said to him, well, hold on a minute, you get this £75 a week. He's this entitled generation, that's what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm entitled to it, I should get it.
Yeah. There's a lot of young people who think, I don't want to work, why should I work?
And well, the government make it too easy not to work.
Yeah.
That's what the be all and end all is. If you're in that cycle, like you said earlier, it is so easy just to stay in that cycle, because actually you're better off. I mean, my wife used to work for £1 an hour, it worked out, because we had to have childcare for our daughter.
Yeah.
So it turned out she worked for £1 an hour, and 20% of that was taken off of her by the government.
Yeah, and
so
she still did it.
80 pence an hour.
Do you know what, Dan? There are grafters, and there are people who never think about working. I'm a grafter. Thankfully, my son is a grafter. You know, my sister is a grafter. You know, there are people that just work and take great pride and joy in working.
That's it.
And that sense, Dan, that you have, that you're a working man, you're working hard for your family, and you're supporting the community, you're supporting society, and you're doing the right thing. That matters. When people don't share that value that you and I have, then it's impossible to understand why somebody on 100 grand a year would say, oh, I might as well have that, it's free. Because it isn't free, because you're paying for it and I'm paying for it. It's like, it's not free, mate. You don't need it. Don't have it.
It makes me even sicker that, I'm going to use my private healthcare to get diagnosed. I mean, that just sums it up, doesn't it? I mean, we often say that we're quite middle class because we have 2 cars, we have a nice life, but we have to work.
You have to work for it. Yeah.
And I just think that he's got this job and he's going, oh, I can get that benefit, I'll get that, oh, I can do that, I'll get that. But everyone else isn't allowed. My gran and granddad, who have, well, again, that's where I got my grafting from.
Yeah.
My gran and granddad that brought us up. Oh, no, you can't have a winter fuel payment. No.
And they've worked all their lives.
Not allowed it.
Yeah. Now, Dan, you raise a brilliant point, a really exceptionally good point, and I wonder if that will be something that will change, because the idea that the PIP payments go to anybody, no matter what their income, is wrong.
Yeah,
it shouldn't happen.
If you can go and you can tax me more money because I go out to work more, then why can't you do anything for the people that earn all that money anyway, and then they're still claiming these benefits? You know, I just, if you don't need that money, you don't need that money. £75 is a drop in the ocean to him. It's nothing.
Not even lunch, is it?
He probably pays more than that every month for his private healthcare.
That actually makes me really cross.
It's bad, isn't it? But ultimately, that's the system. Easy they've made it.
Yeah. And yet your lovely wife, who's having terrible issues, you know, can't get the money that she would need, which would actually help her with her daily life. It just seems to be so totally wrong.
Well, this second job now, this is paying for, because I've watched her suffer for so long.
Oh, bless you.
This money is now to put her through private so she can have the surgery that she needs. Because we've been waiting 3 years for this third surgery.
What a lovely husband.
I've been working for the last 3 years to save up the money, and we're nearly there. We've got a consultation in 2 weeks, and then that's it. Pay the money, away she goes.
Oh, bless your heart. What a lovely man. Honestly, you are. She's lucky. She's lucky to have you.
Well, you tell her that when she wants stuff.
Well, listen, Dan, let me know how it goes, will you? Will you call back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no problem.
Genuinely, I want to know what happens.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, send my love to her, won't you?
Thanks a lot, yeah.
Dan, take care, thank you. New caller, Dan, there from Bournemouth. That is annoying, isn't it? That PIP isn't to do with what you earn. It's just like his brother on 100 grand going, I might as well have it. I've self-diagnosed ADHD. I'm going to have 75 quid a week. It's just, that for me is fundamentally wrong. It's just wrong. That's not what benefits were designed to be for. They weren't designed for the rich to top up or buy themselves a lovely, bunch of flowers a week or whatever